right now. It's kind of so much is in up in the air. It's been a kind of a rough week for me. Also, I have like the I just have crazy astrology transits this week. Also, I don't know. Um, I've been kind of irritated recently actually about because I really have a strong conviction that like so much things in the world would be better if people just paid attention to their charts and the way that the transits are hitting their charts and stuff. But but uh the I don't know, I should get off my high horse on that probably though.
Those astrology.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it. I mean, I know there's the 12 signs, which I think is like a superficial version of it, but then you have like your sun sign, your moon sign, like rising, falling.
Yep.
The charts are do they indicate like if you're of this certain sign combination this week you should be experiencing like
Yeah,
positive, negative, like is it to interpret what you're experiencing or is it like predictive or what is the benefit of it?
oh my gosh, well this is a huge thing. Like I don't, but I don't know. And I'm no expert, but from what I how I my interpretation is that like well, the big thing is that most people forget about or don't consider the what's called transits, like transit astrology, which is basically that all the time, like you could cast a birth chart for any moment. So like the planets are in a particular spot in each sign right now around the ecliptic, and and so in this sense, it's like just like we have kind of full moon and new moon cycles. There are like uh, there are these other cycles created by the various conjunctions and oppositions of other planets, and like that, such that this time, each time has a very particular character, not only in like a Chronos sense, but also in like a kind of Kairos sense, where it's like this moment is like a kind of compression of these past cycles and like where the future cycles are going. And like there's something about where I don't that's important to say, that I don't think it's necessarily causal in the way that we think. Like I don't think it works through rays or like any kind of material process. I think of it more so as like a higher level, which is reflecting or like kind of it's conditioning, but it's also just kind of a mirror of the same pattern at a different scale.
Yes.
So like
It's not the gravitational pull of Jupiter.
no,
It's that the movement of planets reflect some
yeah,
higher level pattern that is also taking place on
yeah, I
Earth
think so.
within us.
Yeah, I think so. And the I would also say that there are probably some like subtle material causes, and maybe even like there's certain ways of understanding material, like metaphysics, that would account for the influence of astrology, like maybe through kind of morphogenetic fields, or kind of like something about like holography or something, like holograms and like the way that
Mm-hmm.
projection happens or something. Um, but yeah, I think of it more so as like it's a well, I don't know, Steiner's cosmology, where he has like the astral um layer, is kind of interesting insofar as he kind of describes it as like there's a conditioning effect. So I don't know, I don't want to get lost in the weeds, but basically, yeah, I think it's not deterministic, but it does kind of have a constraining, just like kind of all aspects of our material existence. Like it kind of has a constraining function on the types of things that can happen. Like humans can't really fly because the conditions of the material conditions of where we're at don't really allow for that. So I think it's kind of the same kind of thing. It's like these planets are markers of they describe something about the very high level types of patterns which are conditioning, like what types of things are possible, basically, or something like that. Like, so, like in Capricorn season, you'll have like more of these types of things happening, and in Aquarius season, you'll have more of these types of things happening, and but it gets very subtle and intricate insofar as there's all these various planets and the relationships with each other and how that connects into historical time, like, where like there's all these kind of stories that are being played out on these various scales. Like one that comes to mind is how there's a Saturn Neptune conjunction coming up in February, and the last time that happened was when the Berlin Wall fell, and there's kind of like a callback to that moment in a sense. It's like Saturn being about structure and the way we organize society and like the kind of rules of the system and stuff, and then Neptune being about like the kind of ideals and dreams which call to us, and like the fantasies of more communal stuff, I think, is a big thing. So it's like a reorganization of these kind of ideals which govern society, in a sense, is like what this conjunction refers to. And like last time, capitalism won out over communism, and now I think there's another thing kind of analogous happening. So it's so nuanced and interesting. And then all those transits, you can see, oh, if something's going through Aquarius and I have my sun in Aquarius, when it hits my sun, then like, yeah, it does. There is this relationship of like how the transits are impacting people in particular. So it gets very like nuanced and stuff, It's crazy.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So the sun sign is in relation to where the Earth is in relation to the sun. So that's why I'm a Libra. So early October,
Yep.
365 days later, the Earth should be in the same relation to the sun. But in 1 year's difference, all the other planets, it's not like every other planet has a 365-day revolution around the sun. So everything else is in difference. And so there's the sun sign is where you are, where the Earth is in relation to the sun, but the planetary configurations like this Saturn-Jupiter alignment may occur once every 30 years or something.
Yeah.
And that's more civilizational in impact, not individual.
Yeah. I mean, like, some people, so the sun also moves through the zodiac like throughout the year, and all the other planets do, but they all go at different speeds and such. And like and it's interesting, yesterday the sun was opposite my natal sun, which means that like my sun is in Cancer, so right now the sun is in Capricorn, and it's in this kind of opposing relationship. And so there can be this kind of tension with oppositions, but it's oppositions are not necessarily bad as well, though. It's because it's like kind of like a full moon, it's like when the sun is opposite the moon, and it's this fullness of the cycle or something. So,
and our position being in between.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and the Earth in the middle. Yes, and there's various cycles that hit at all these different lengths. Like a lot of people talk about the Saturn return, which happens when you're like 28 to 30, somewhere in there. And like that's oftentimes for people kind of this like coming to grips with the Saturn archetype and like the way that it functions in their life, of like kind of, oh, I'm getting old now, and I have to think about, like constraints, and I have limitations, and figure out my discipline and stuff like that. Like these are all very Saturnian terms, and like, so there are these larger life cycle events which happen. But yeah, once you get to the outer planets and stuff like Pluto, it takes 250 years to go around. So like the last time that was in, right now it's at the very beginning of Aquarius, and the last time it was here was when America was like starting to, so like
1776.
Yeah, so and you can even do like birth charts for countries in this respect, that America is kind of having its Pluto return, just like we have our solar return every year. And like, it's kind of going through this deep transformation, and like kind of having these very id type of, or like kind of guttural impulses. It goes with Pluto as well, and but also like transformation and like I don't know, yeah. So yeah. Anyway,
super interesting. I think there's probably a lot of depth to explore. I am curious. Something that's always been made me a little hesitant. I think it's because I've been at the shallow level of it. So I have a twin brother. So we were born same day, 8 minutes apart. Do we have the exact same astrological chart? And and if so, like, what explains the differences that we're experiencing in our lives? We might be at very different rising, falling in terms of work.
Yeah, life. That's good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, generally speaking, I would say that it's very similar. Like the one thing that does change very quickly is like what's on the horizon, which is called like the ascendant or the rising sign, and so that changes pretty quickly. So it's probably like just a couple, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 degrees off for you and him, and like the ascendant and like what's they call the midheaven, like what is directly above. So like that's more about your particular personality, and that changes pretty quick. So this accounts for the variability, and also I just think regular life circumstances. Also, it's like the way that we relate to our charts and work with our charts like very much shapes our growth and development as like individuals. Like you can have one expression of the sun at this spot, but you could also kind of unfold that in a whole nother way. Yeah. But that's interesting. Yeah, that's kind of a good study.
Yeah. I feel like you're describing there's like some at least with the ascendant horizon, there's like a double pendulum thing where even a fraction of a degree difference over time can result in very different movement.
Yeah, that's kind of a good way to think about it, I think. But and also just like it could be making slightly different aspects in the chart. I don't know exactly how much 8 minutes would affect it, but it's
and 8 minutes is long for twins. Most twins are born 1 or 2 minutes apart.
That's a good.
I think it's like if it's a C-section, we were natural birth.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to see how astrology is not deterministic. Actually, it's like it's that really how we work with it, and like the things that happen to us as individuals like really shape who we are. Yeah, that's interesting.
That was a worthy tributary.
Yeah.
I do want so in this community. So it sounds like you're going to find some type of housing, and you're going to find this community center. And I know we spoke about in the past